Hey everyone, this is Shawn Batchelor. Welcome to my week 3 review video for application deployment. The application that I designed was My Mortgage, and from last week what it did is it calculates a mortgage based on your input values and gives you a sentence format for the results, so it simplifies it. Now this week I also implemented a detailed results view. So let me show you. If you click on how much you want to borrow, 100,000, 20 at 5%. So if you click on basic results, you'll get the basic results right here as from last week. Now this week, as I said, I implemented a detailed. Now one thing I didn't have last week was the years did not automatically calculate the months, and the months didn't automatically calculate the years. So this week, if you enter just the months, it'll calculate the years from it, and vice versa. So once I click on detail right here, I will receive a table view breakdown for the payment. So it gives you the payment number, the interest that you paid for that payment, the total interest you'll pay over the life of the loan, and it accumulates each line, the principal, and then the balance remaining. So for that loan, it gives you everything and it breaks it down to your final payment. So after 20 years, you would have 240 payments. Your final balance is going to be 0. So that it works as it's designed. Now, one of the issues I had was the final payments. Based on the rounding, it would not necessarily give you a 0 value for that. So what I did was I retooled my calculation, and then for the final payment, it adjusts your payment amount to include whatever balance is left over from that final payment. So your last payment that you're gonna make is gonna be different from, if there is a leftover, is gonna be different from what you would normally pay monthly. And for next week, I want to implement a note on that matter, because I think it's important to let the user know that their final payment is going to be different from the normal payments. So it's adjusted. I want to implement a note based on that. Another thing that I implemented this week is error control. So for instance, if you try to get results without having a field entered, you'll get an error message right here saying you're missing something. So you have to have all fields filled out. So you will get the error message if you don't. Another thing I implemented is if you're using a normal keyboard, you will get a next button on the keyboard. It automatically jumps to the next text field, and so on. Once you get to the last one, you get the go button, and then you don't have to tap results. You can just hit go, and based on the selection where you have detailed or basic, you will get that result screen from that selection. Another thing that I implemented is it automatically removes the keyboard from the screen by resigning the first responder. I also set the decimal pad, the keyboard, to a decimal pad. So if you have your a keyboard that permits you to use a decimal pad, it will show up on your iPad. I had an accuracy issue last week where the mortgage amount would be slightly off, and it was because I was using an integer to calculate the number of months as opposed to a float value, and I corrected that, and the mortgage calculations based on the formulas is now accurate based on the other calculators on the internet. Another issue I had last week was when you did a calculation basic, if you entered only months in that last sentence on my basic screen, it would show blank instead of the years. But now that the years calculate from the month itself, there is no more issue with that. So whether you input a month or a year, you'll have that sentence, that last sentence, filled in. And the last thing that I implemented this week is you can only input numeric values on the keyboard. So you can't put in anything else, no numbers, no parentheses or anything like that. You can implement numeric values only. One other thing that I wish to do for next week, apart from the note on the bottom of the screen, is to improve the layout, sorry, not the layout, the formatting for the numbers on the screen. So I'd like to put commas in between the dollar values so it's easier to read. And I may also, if I have time for it, just improve the look of the application. The layout